IPMNation.com.
It'd be helpful if I did it like this. Good evening and welcome to All Natural Being here on IPMNation.com. Thank you all so very much for joining us. We're getting ready to kick it off over on Facebook Live. Thank you so very much for making us the #1 rated show here on IPMNation.com. Here we go.
Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Welcome, and thank you for stopping by the #1 rated show here on IPMNation.com, episode 279 of the Gong Heard Round the World. You're in to All Natural Being, broadcast as it happens here, as I said, on IPMNation.com, and Facebook for Fly on the Wall video, live from the Outpost Studios in rainy Columbus, Ohio, with rebroadcast regardless of the weather on iTunes and iHeartRadio. Greetings wherever you are, here in the Garden of the Mortals. Top of the day to the truest parts of your mind, wherever you find yourself on our planet. Remember, life is your labyrinth, your shot at running the table. That's why we're always putting your heart's highest priority, right, top of the list, placing your primal scream front and center in your life, reinstalling and reinstating the true wisdom, the true wit of your inner whisper. Because we believe it's time to reboot your robust, to find your ferocious, to outbrutal the brutal that is the cut and shuffle that fate deals you on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold, once and for all. But before we hit it this evening, hello to my friends here in the United States, in Canada, Mexico, the UK, my good friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, Japan, Turkey, France, Singapore, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands. To those joining us from all over the globe, it is great, truly great to have you with us, and I'm fired up to be driving your bandwagon, to be your biggest fan, to be, no matter what, to be avidly you. So let me ask you, are you tired of being institutionalized by the intentions of others, convicted by the constructs of another, remanded to a prison of rhetoric? Well, I was too, and that's why it's time to mortal up. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. And this evening, as I said, 279th episode, and I can also say the final episode, where Henry Noel will be joining us here in just a little bit. He's in the studio. He's been here. This will be his fourth. It'd have been nice if he could have hung around to do episode 280, right? Because I'm just like that. You know how it is with numbers. And you're like, oh, that would be a nice even number, episode 280. So, but he's got other places to be. He can't stay and hang out with me forever. So he'll be heading on, but he'll be with us here in just a couple minutes. We'll be talking about some of the different things that he's been working on of late. And, you know, we were kicking it around at dinner when a lot of people say, look, if life is just getting to be too much, if it sounds crazy, if it's any of these other things, then all you got to do is just stop. When people ask, they go, stop what? And all I'm suggesting is maybe your going isn't getting you where you thought it would. You know, we talked about it last evening when we talked about, maybe the you are today is different than the 24-year-old. And we know that's absolutely the case. But maybe that's it. Maybe your going isn't getting you where you wanted it to. So we're going to talk about that this evening. And then a couple of the things I wanted to throw in. I wanted to go over again this whole thing about First Amendment rights, that kind of thing. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that this evening. But let me jump in. Wayne, hello. Wayne, thank you very much. Nice to see you. Wayne says hello to Henry as well. Rita, thank you so very much for joining us. Nice to see you. Let me see. John, hey, everyone. Hope you all are having a wonderful day. John, we hope you are having a wonderful day as well, just for the record. Janile, hello. Thank you for watching and hanging out with us here on All Natural Being. Jenny is here. Jenny, not only thank you for joining us this evening, Jenny, but thank you for everything you do to help us at IPM Nation and keep everything up and going. And Jenny's always just in addition to being a wealth of information, she's just always a great person to talk to, right? You call and Jenny's just like always, she's just dialed in is the way I look at it. So Jenny, thank you for everything that you've done. And I wouldn't even be here on IPM Nation if Jenny hadn't taken, and I know some people might be thinking, well, then so we have Jenny to blame for you being here for 280 episodes. But she was the one day and said, hey, did you ever think about doing this? And I go, well, it's true. I do have a face for radio and the rearview mirror, but I don't know. I've never really thought about this. She goes, well, we should talk about it. And we did. So Jenny, thank you very much. It's nice to know that you're here on the other end hanging out. Thank you so very much. All right. So what I wanted to do, yes, as she says, yes, I am to blame, just so you know. So let me go ahead and real quick introduce Henry as I like to say, my first Noel, right? Henry Noel. How are you, sir? Happy evening.
Good. Very good, Brian.
Hi,
everybody.
I cannot believe it's time for you to leave already. It seems like you just got here.
It does. It feels exactly the same way to me.
Well, I have to tell you, what is it? Ben Franklin said that guests and fish are the same. They start to stink after 3 days. House guests or gifts. Right? I think it was Ben Franklin said it. I don't sense any odor from you, right? I wish you could stay here for another week. So he when Ben Franklin wrote that line, he must have been thinking about someone other than you, because I've had an absolute riot, right? Most times I can't get people to talk to me. So I can't thank you enough. And Izherba's here. Hi, everyone. Hi, Izherba. Nice to see you. And the next time you come, will you bring Izherba with you, please? So
absolutely.
You and Rita, if you come, bring Izherba. So, Henry, we wanted to talk this evening. Let me go ahead and give out the toll-free number real quick. 833-GO-BU. 833-462-3968. 833-GO-BU. Yeah. Don't wear out your welcome. I don't think he could, Izherba. Izherba says, don't wear out your welcome. I'm not sure he could. Everyone digs him. Everyone wants to hang out with him. Everything else. So it's like we were out at a place the other day, and I said, Mr. Noel, of course, yes, right this way. And they said, and you? And I go, well, I'm just the driver, right? Not even like a real driver, not even like a chauffeur. I'm just like the Uber guy. Well, I happened to, he just was out. He needed a ride, so I brought him here. So, Henry, I can't believe tonight is the last night. But Izherba says, don't wear out your welcome. Here's what I thought we could talk about tonight. We'll take some calls here in a little bit. But you've been writing a good bit about how to just get off the train to crazy town, right? If you get to the point you go, I'm just headed up to here, right? So how do you stop when where you're going isn't getting you where you wanted to, right? And you say, great. Well, you'd say, stop. But how specifically? That was the question I was asked today. Well, if you get a chance to ask Henry, he'd like to know. And Izherba says to let you know you are a great guy.
Oh, thank you, Izherba.
Isn't she fantastic?
We love
really
you.
Something else. So, Henry, how do we do it? How do we stop?
Well, I think first we have to realize and recognize that if we're not happy or we are frustrated or we're confused with the way life is for us, our life, maybe it's time to change and really start looking at what is it that we really want. I mean, remember, all of the decisions we've made were taught to us. These were all things that we simply learned from our childhood. And so if all of a sudden we find ourselves, as we talked yesterday about the midlife crisis, the quarter life crisis, this is the realization that I'm just not happy. I don't want to go the way I'm going. I need to figure out a way to change it. And that's step one, is just recognizing that that's the doldrums that we're in, and it is time to change.
Okay, now my friend today earlier that asked me would say, well, great. We want to stop. We want to change, but you got to hold Henry's feet to the fire. How? How do we do it? Now, my first inclination, if I could, is that, and it's just me, right? So everyone's welcome. You're most certainly welcome in to call in and give me a hard time, 833-462-3968. But you know how I say all the time, BYOB, bring your own bold? Well, when it comes to finally stopping, I go, BYOB, I repurpose it to bring your own blame. Because ultimately, if you're not happy, Henry, if you're depressed, if you're any of these things that you don't want to be, any of these things that, you're like, oh, I don't have enough of what I do want to be, I have to blame me. If I'm not happy, I blame me. I don't look around the people around me and go, oh, it's your fault or that fault. So BYOB can bring your own blame. Is that the way to start saying stop?
Yeah, I think it's part of the realization. We've done all of this other stuff. We've blamed everybody else for all of our problems. We've blamed everyone else for all that we've experienced, both good and bad. Bottom line, it's really up to us. It is us that we're the ones that put ourselves in this because we followed the guidelines of somebody else. Now, again, that is something that we were taught to do. So it's not like it's a fault, and I'm not trying to sit down and point fingers and make blame that way. But once you understand that and accept the fact that, yes, we have followed this path that wasn't ours to begin with, and that all of the things that we seem to have judgments on and ridicule and criticize are somebody else's ideas, then it is time for the blame game to be on us, because we really do know better, and we simply don't want to change. We just simply don't want to do that. We find it outside our comfort zone.
Jenny says the hardest first step, looking at yourself and seeing what you need to change to attract the better life and to really be happy. And, I go back to what Kelly said last evening when she was in studio with us, and it was pretty profound, really. And she was talking about a pacifier. She said she was out and about running around and she saw a kid, 7, 8 years old, however old he was. I'm sure it wasn't 7, 8, so probably like more than 4 and 5, right? But still had a pacifier. And she wanted to go over and just rip the pacifier because it's not doing it for his teeth. It's not doing anything good for his social adjustment. So then I really thought about that today, and I began to think that maybe it's the pacifiers that we're talking about. Things we were given, right? When the shelf life on our ego hadn't expired yet, right? When we had to learn our balance, when we had to learn equilibrium, homeostasis, if you will. And then, but pretty soon that pacifier, it only is a detriment if you keep it employed. Rita says it would seem that you have to know what you want before you can even know you need to change. Well, I would think, Henry, is knowing what you want in Rita's particular quote there, is knowing what you want coming to the realization of what you don't want.
Ooh, good question. Coming to understand, well, what it is that you feel you want, that this is something that we have to discern. Is it us is it we that want this?
Right.
Or is it our ego that wants this? And once we can discern the difference between those two, then we can start making rational decisions. I mean, the pacifier is a great example of the stagnation that we place ourselves in, the fear of changing, the fear of giving things up. Because we don't know what the unknown is. Well, the only unknown, when you look at it, is really everything in our lives is unknown. We don't have an idea. We know exactly what's happening at this moment, but 2 seconds from now, we don't know. And so it's giving it up. It's giving up the pacifier. It's giving up the reasons for holding on to it as a crutch or as a way of trying to hobble ourselves through this life. Yet the fear of just standing on our own and understanding who we are and being afraid to delve into that, because we have to give up everything we have identified ourselves with in order to really strip away all the unhappinesses that we have to get down to our happiness.
So in other words, you have to be comfortable stripping away, letting go of some of the baggage. I used to talk about, we have a psychological Sherpa, where we've just been carrying all these other opinions, all these other attitudes, all these other things around for so long that after a while you just start to slump over. It's, just imagine putting a really super heavy pack on your back and trying to make it up a mountain. Mm-hmm. So is it that we're afraid of abandoning some of those things? Have we attached? Let me ask you this. What is it? Stockholm Syndrome, where left over, and I believe it was in an elevator, but a group of people were taken hostage. and it was a study after the fact that showed that they started bonding with their captors.
Mm-hmm.
So is it kind of like a Stockholm Syndrome where we've grown accustomed to these captors, these nets, these, right, the Venus flytraps, the walking, talking pits of quicksand in our life? So is it kind of like the Stockholm Syndrome in that we kind of fall in love with our captors, and it's easier not to buck the system than it is to try to put your heart's highest priority top of your list?
It is very similar to it. I mean, we've grown accustomed to our things, our stuff, and we have identified with our stuff and our professions, our titles. I mean, being a Democrat, a Republican, or being a doctor or a lawyer, or being a librarian, we have identified with that. So it's the cars and, having the Beamer instead of, the Chevrolet, or having the huge house that we're in debt up to our noses in, because this is what we've been taught to do. And so, yes, we have grown so accustomed to our captors, which is our ego and our stuff, that the ego desires and wants, that we do join that rat race, and we do join the stuff. We put our nose to the grindstone. We work the jobs we hate. We do all of the things to keep the stuff.
And then I wonder, like everyone, and possibly people listening as well, but me for sure, you have a junk drawer. And if you've ever gone into your junk drawer in your home, it's packed full of stuff. But the thought of getting rid of anything in your junk drawer, you just wouldn't even think about it. Exactly. All right, let's try this real quick. Let's take a quick call. Good evening. Thank you for calling All Natural Being. Who's with us?
Well, hello, Brian. It's Matt.
Matt.
Hey, Matt.
You want to say hello?
How are you,
Henry? Good.
So, Matt,
gentlemen?
Nice to hear your voice again. Thank you. I was saying to everyone earlier, thanks so much to Jenny, because she was the one that goes, yeah, you're a bit nuts, but it might just work. And Jenny was the one that introduced me back.
My goodness.
I said something today about, being crazy or this or that. And, someone said, well, how's the brain surgery going? I go, well, at least they didn't remove the nuts in me, right? At least they left the craziness in me. That's a good thing. So, but I thank you again. As I said, you and Jenny taking a gamble and everything. I super appreciate it. So what's going on in the world of Matt? That's what I want to know.
Well, very exciting today. Matt Connerton Unleashed in the Afternoon resumed after being off for a few weeks. So it was very exciting.
Now, did I hear you went to North Korea?
Yes, we needed some time off because I don't like to name drop, Brian, but my close personal friend, Dennis Rodman, did invite Jenny and I to go to North Korea to meet Kim Jong-un, and it was very exciting.
Yeah. How is Little Rocket Man? How's everything been after the summit?
Well, wonderful. He was in quite a mood. Interesting about him. He looks like he's not a particularly tall gentleman. Turns out he wears lifts. He's actually only 4'10".
That's good. And does he? So if you wear a lift to increase your height, what do you wear to increase his obvious buoyancy if he makes it into the swimming pool? What is it? Are there like horizontal lifts that guy's wearing, or what's going on with him? Because in a country that's having as tough a time, how can he grow to? I guess portly is the word I would use. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah.
How's he going to be that portly?
Yes. Well, as he explained to us, and Dennis had warned me about this, the television really does add about 100 pounds to dictators.
Oh, listen, I have to do this line, but in the interest of full disclosure, I'm plagiarizing it from Friends. Do you remember the episode years ago? Well, Matt's a young guy, so he probably doesn't remember this, but years ago there was a show called Friends. And they were doing some videos of the old days. Well, Monica, who's now a beautiful woman, back in the old days, there was a lot of Monica, let's just say. And at one point, they were all looking at her, and they made some kind of comment, and Monica goes, well, the camera adds 10 pounds. And her boyfriend, Chandler, goes, just how many cameras were on you? So maybe that's a part. Maybe that's a part of what he's got going on. He's just got a lot of camera coverage.
I know. I do know more about that than I'm actually saying, but he did say that if I say too much, he will have me killed. Now, he was laughing when he said it, so he was probably just, joshing me, as they say. But discretion is the better part of valor.
There you go, brother.
Or the better part of not being murdered by a dictator.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because in this day and age, it seems like these dictators have the ability to reach out and touch you anywhere. People are being poisoned in airports. The Russian people are being poisoned in England. Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is poisoning his own cousin or stepbrother or half-brother or whatever somewhere else. So I guess it's pretty smart for you, man, to be a little careful, right? And not be picking a fight with him.
Well, I learned my lesson. I personally have been poisoned by Vladimir Putin. I had to go to the emergency room and drink a couple gallons of water to try to get all that out of me, but it worked out. I'm still here.
Well, I'm glad. It's nice to have you here, brother. Only because I have to ask, how did you put yourself in a position to be, to drink some hemlock from Vlad?
Oh, I absolutely cannot discuss that. Okay. But let's just say lesson learned.
Lesson learned, right? You watch it whenever you can. All right, so speaking of lessons learned, we were talking, Henry and I were talking about one thing that I think I would love to do, Matt, is that there's so much cool programming on IPMNation.com. What if we were to get together once a week and do like remember when we were little, TV Guide? They'd come in the mail, those little magazines you open up and go, oh, well, Monday, I want to tune into that. And, Tuesday I can afford to go out and screw around because there's nothing I want to see. But Wednesday, right? Or if you remember back in the high school days, you'd drop a date off before you'd miss the opening of Saturday Night Live. Right? So you knew the programming in advance. So what I was thinking, and I was kind of kicking it around with Henry, but what if we did a show, and we could do video, we'll import your video if that's cool with you, but we could do a show that would talk about the programming that's coming this week. So I guess we better do it before the week kicks off. Maybe we do it like maybe a Sunday, or maybe do like a Friday going, here's what's going to happen next week on IPM Nation. But I would love it if we could kind of say to everybody, this is what's coming up. Henry, what do you think?
Yeah.
You think that'd be something everyone would want to see?
Oh, I think it'd be fun. It really would be. I'm not sure how far through the schedule we'd get, but but I think it would be a blast to try to put it out there, just give people a heads up.
Also, let me say quickly hello to Dallas. Dallas, hello. Thank you so very much. Lee, thank you for watching All Natural Being. I saw Candace's name pop up just a little bit ago. Candace, peace to you as well. I hope everything's going well in your world. So, Matt, what do you think? Henry seems to think it's a good idea. What if we do like this week at IPM Nation, here's what we've got coming, and we can interview, right, all the different hosts. We can be talking about why the programming that you do at IPMNation.com, I think, is so important to us regular folks.
Yes. No, I agree. I think it's a wonderful idea. And I do especially like the part about bringing on other hosts and interviewing them. And, I think they'll be all over it. We've got a lot of shows and a lot of hosts, and, obviously they're used to talking. Or they wouldn't be hosting shows.
Right.
So I think it's a perfect idea. I think it's fantastic.
All right. So what else is going on with Matt Connerton Unleashed? I love the word unleashed. Right. To me, that's especially knowing you. It's like, so what's going on with your show that we can talk about? Because I know some things you can talk about, some things you can't. What do you got planned? Speaking of what's coming up in the weeks ahead, what do you got planned for Matt Connerton Unleashed?
Well, it's hard to say, which is also ironic that I would say it's hard to say what's coming up, given that we were just, we're talking about doing a show where we talk about what's coming up.
Sure.
But, but
you needed more of a runway than that, Matt, did you? I did. Hold on. Here's Matt's runway. All right, how do you like that, huh? That's a sound effect. Yeah, you're just not going to find that at any other crappy internet, anyone else other than over here at IPMNation.com. Listen to that. That's right. That's a real live sound effect. Howard Stern's got nothing on me. All right.
That's right.
So,
yes.
So now that you've been given a drum roll, Matt, what are we going to do?
Yes, thank you. So,
you'll be here all hour.
Well, the thing about my show is it's very loose and unpredictable. And I actually try to put very little planning into it, which sounds terrible because it sounds like I don't care about my show, or I just kind of, I just kind of throw it together. But to be honest, we really do kind of fly by the seat of our pants. Part of it is the spontaneity of it is that I never know who's going to be joining me.
Fair enough.
Some days Jenny joins me in the studio. Some days a gentleman whom you've interacted with, Mr. John Hopwood.
Oh, and let me just say, always the thrill being on, because you can, everything you say can be called into question. So it's always great to be on when he's on, because I leave it going, why did I ever agree to that? I'm not going on that again. But I wish John well. Hope he's doing good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people have had that experience with John. But no, but it's so we have a pretty colorful cast of characters who join me, and I never know who's going to show up. There's certain people whom I don't call them guests. I consider them friends of the show, which is sort of this other category of people. And you're in that category, too. You're always welcome. And so is Henry, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I see Henry show up in the chat room sometimes on Facebook. But friends of the show, people who just have an open invitation to show up or call in whenever, no matter what we're doing, join us. So some of those people who are local here in Manchester, New Hampshire, from where I broadcast, they just show up. And that makes it fun. The other thing that's hard to, where it's hard to kind of plan my show in advance, is that we didn't really get too heavy into politics today, but politics is kind of the the undergirding of the show.
Okay.
Like politics, we try to treat it all like the circus that it is and kind of have fun with it. But you don't know from one day to the next, especially in this era. My goodness. From one day to the next, what's going to be happening. There's always so much to talk about. So that makes it hard to really plan stuff in advance, too, because, we have to kind of spontaneously react to whatever's happening that day.
Sure. And this is a great time to be alive, Matt. I say to my friend Sue, who helps in the production with me all the time, I say to Sue, whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump or you're this or that, this is the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Right? It's like in terms of material, which is why I have to stay away from it. It's, to be honest with me, it's like me and Oreos. I just have to stay away from them, right? I can't. If I started doing a political show with all the mashugana that's going on in the world today, right? I can do it. So it's like candy corn. You see that bowl of candy corn on Halloween, you go, I would never buy myself a bag of candy corn, but if it's there, you can't help but like having 2 or 3 handfuls, right? So when it comes to a political show, I just have to stay away from it. Because I would just get sucked, like Al Pacino in The Godfather. I try to get out and they pull me right back in, right? I couldn't get away from it. So God love you for being able to handle it.
What I tell people is, the key is you just got to be willing to lean into the horror,
This is coming from a guy that's got to learn to walk backwards now to keep himself protected.
There you go.
So now listen, Matt, can I ask you quickly, because Henry's also now, we should talk a little bit since he's here and we're getting ready to ramp that up as well. Talk to us a little bit, Henry, about Transitions Radio and on IPMNation.com/ is it Live 4, right?
Live 4.
Live 4.
Yes.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get this going as soon as I can get back home and get this set up now to where we can actually start putting out more of the instructional information dealing with transitions, what it takes to go through a transitional process, lay out some guidelines and some pathways for everyone to follow, and just open up their eyes as to what's going on. Actually, all the senses to just realize why we're in the positions that we're in and how do we get out of them. So yeah, a lot of the stuff will be there on the show, and so we'll be starting to do that as soon as I get back.
And then, Henry, you should know that Jenny says, woot, woot, Henry rocks. And here's why I'm laughing, Jenny. You should spend 5 days running around with this guy. Best Buy, Home Depot, the grocery store, right? people are just drawn to him. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. And we'll let him talk about it on his show, right? Because you'll think, well, Brian, you hijacked all of his stories for yours. But it's amazing. He's got such a gripping, a magnetic smile that people just walk up and start talking to him. And that's why I've joked that I'm just his Uber driver, a chauffeur, a bodyguard, whatever, a personal assistant, that kind of thing. But people are just drawn to him like you wouldn't. He does have an infectious smile, Jenny. You're absolutely correct. So it's been something else running around with him. And I think that's why, Matt, that his show will work so well is because he's one of those unique people that can transfer his smile that you see in person. He can transfer that in audio. And I think his station's going to do great.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And there we should mention, too, just so people understand, there is content on there currently. So it's not like, because Henry is away that it's just, dead air or anything. I mean, there's already great stuff on there that people can log on and listen to. Not right now, stay with us. But
hey, Matt, if you're going to submarine my show, call into Henry's, would you? What the hell? All right, and you should know he's Yerba. Says you're a really nice guy, right? Okay. Candace, very kind face and eyes. I know. Candace said that the other day, Matt, right? He has very kind face and eyes. And I think that's what other people, when you're out and about and you see him in public, I think people sense that. So, and Yerba says, come home, Henry and Rita. Right. So
thanks, Yerba.
She's tired. She's tired of watering the plants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yerba's like, come on, it's time to come home. All right, so before we let you go, Matt, because I promised we wouldn't hold you all evening, we're going to be talking about some more of Henry's stuff and what he's doing for Transitions Radio, and then also we'll just do a quick recap where we're talking about maybe next Sunday, a week from this coming Sunday, we'll just do that highlight show where we say, okay, great, here's what's coming up this week on IPM, because although I'm not going to do a political show, although I'm pretty sure Henry's not going to do a political. Who knows what Henry's going to do, right? But Matt's showing this and that. But I think what's so cool about being on IPM Nation is that, and we were talking to Wayne today, and a shout out if Wayne is still listening. Wayne is one sharp guy. So, we were talking to Wayne, and Wayne is kind of helping us with some stuff and doing this and doing that. But I think that IPM Nation, as I was saying, is such a cool programming platform that people are going to want to vent. People are going to want to talk about what's on their minds. People are going to want to let it out. And that's the beauty of IPM Nation, Matt, I think, is that, you give people the ability to do that across the spectrum. So I'm thinking that it only bodes well for the future of IPM Nation.
Yes. Absolutely.
Sounds good to me. Oh, I agree. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, absolutely. We're all in this thing together. So,
oh, yeah, you're not going to argue with me? You're not going to argue with me. Go, well, Brian, I don't take those compliments. That's just no. But in all joke aside, I love being here because you can tune in, right? And soon we're talking about getting an app and do this stuff. But if you go to IPMNation.com, right, and it has the whole listing of everything that's there, there's all kinds of things to listen to for all kinds of people. I guess is all I'm saying, right? There's no matter what.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we've got all kinds of stuff. I mean, we've got programs. I was going to say programs like this, but there really is nothing quite like what you do. But you know what I mean. Things that can help people, things that are helpful. But also too, lots of political programming from across the spectrum. Liberal, conservative, libertarian, what have you. All kinds of stuff. There's music programming. There's comedy. There's just a wide variety. We've definitely got, I almost hate to say it because it sounds cliche, but we really do have something for everyone.
No, I would absolutely agree. And that's why I'm excited to learn from some of the other hosts, because I'm sure there's things that we're all going to disagree on. And that's the beauty of IPM Nation, is that, as you say, there's a little bit of something for everyone, a smorgasbord, if you will, right? Like a buffet, all you can eat buffet. You can come and find different things. So again, I'm thrilled to be here. I know Henry is thrilled to be launching here pretty, like you say, Matt, he's already got stuff up, but in a bigger and better way here. So we're thankful that you called, and thank you for the opportunity to be hanging out here on IPM Nation.
Oh, anytime. Thank you for Thank you for having me on.
And listen, if you get, when you and Dennis hang out again, give us a call back and let us know how that goes.
Yeah, he's actually shorter than he appears, by the way. He also wears lifts. He's only he's 5'6". You never know.
Sounds good.
But yes, I will pass that invitation along to him.
That sounds great. Matt, thanks, brother, for everything. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
All right, everybody. That was Matt Connerton from IPM Nation. Kind of like, I guess, Henry, you could say, kind of like our boss.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like at least the guy that he's the ringleader in the circus that is all the different shows on IPM Nation. So it was nice. Let me say hello to Whitney. Hello, Whitney. Thank you for joining us here on IPMNation.com. And so, Henry, let's talk a little more about Transitions Radio. All right?
Okay.
So what are you thinking? What's it going to be? What would compel someone, right? Unless you're just going to sit there and turn on the video camera and smile for a full hour, which I've seen work in person. It's you know what I mean? What would be the reason that someone go, oh man, Transitions Radio? That's I'm digging that. What would that reason be?
I have no idea.
Good for you, brother. It'll be very successful. That's the way to go.
No, the fact that just. Well, like you mentioned, look at the news. I mean, you can't find a bigger comedy act than that, and it's a tough act to follow. Everything that's going on in this world. I mean, we're petrified of what's going on.
Sure.
And we are angry because of what's going on, and we don't understand what's going on and why. It seems like there's no common sense at all. Nothing seems to make sense. My button's bigger than yours. It just doesn't seem to make really a whole lot of common sense. And so all Transitional Radio is going to try to do is to simply bring some sense to all of this. Why is it the way it is? And then out of that, and as we beat that horse as much as we possibly can, and I hate to use that as a sample, but finally start to make sense not only of what's going on, why it's going on, but then what can we do to change it?
Oh, I'm sorry. This phone call is for you. It's PETA. It's People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Don't like the fact you said beat this horse.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take the call. Then that's not a problem.
Which leads me into this. You got to help me, right? So, because I'm always calling Henry and saying, okay, well, here's where I am, right? I try Sue. If I can't get a hold of Sue, then I call Henry and go, hey, what do you think with this? So I saw today in the news, and I know it's a little bit of me being me, right? Brian being Brian. Little, right? But one of the Kardashian girls, I don't even know her name. I've never even seen any of the shows that they've done, but our Kardashian girl is in trouble because she tweeted something out, or it was in a video or something, and they'll say, oh, she used the R word, and then the comedian Trevor Noah is in trouble because he made a joke about Aboriginal folks. And Bill Maher is in trouble because, not unlike the R word, he used the N word. And you've heard me say before, we can't use A, we can't use B, we can't use the C word, probably can't use the D word. E, I think E might still be okay, but if you know of an E word that I'm not allowed to say, please call me, 833-GO-BU, 833-462-3968. But what has happened to where we've become so thin-skinned that I always go back to this. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Well, now we could end up going to a war. You just talk about going to guns all over words. Yes. It's not inappropriate language, as you know, I believe. It's inappropriate hearing that's responsible. So what we talked about today at lunch, what's happened in the last 30 years?
Well, I think outlawing vegetable soup, I think that probably had it. The alphabet soup, that probably had it.
As Yerba says, E is for Yerba. See, that's why I'm allowed to use that. That's beautiful. Is that not a beautiful name?
It really is, yeah.
Political correctness, Donald, my good friend Donald, says political correctness is killing us. Thank you, Donald.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Because everyone's worried about offending everyone. And here's the thing. If you're offended, then my suggestion to you is don't be offendable. Right?
It's real simple, isn't it?
It would seem to me it's simple, but you can't. Everyone said that. Oh, it was degrading. It was inflammatory. It was no, a road flare. going off in your pocket is inflammatory, right? But all these other things, what has happened? Mitzi says E is for equality. Yeah, I guess I'm not allowed. Sorry, Sherpa. I guess equality. But that's my point, right? Like all these different words, no one can, comedians can't work, people can't talk, all these different things can't be said without the fear of the political correctness police, right? The social justice warriors. What a group, right? The social justice warriors coming after you. So how is this going to play out?
Well, this is a good question because, I mean, people like Don Rickles, well, I'm old enough to remember Don Rickles, Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, these guys were in your face and nobody in an audience was spared. It didn't matter who you were or what color. None of that mattered. You were a target. And, and it was funny. And so, yes, I think political correctness has stepped in and it has been used as an excuse for us to simply eliminate responsibility for ourselves and allowed us to just become so sensitive, hypersensitive, that we can now complain about everything. I mean, being in a litigious country where, you get sued because the paint on your fence is chipping,
sure.
That has led to a tremendous amount of problems, I think, is we just point fingers, blame everybody else, and we never look at ourselves as the problem. And we are the problem.
Well, I think that's when we go back to the bring your own blame. You got to blame yourself and say, look, if I'm inflamed by this, if I'm derailed by this, if I'm offended by this, then it's got to be. And I know you and I disagree on it a little bit, and then in addition to that, right, and I couldn't care less about people's opinions of fake news or real news or the like, but it's always kind of just gotten my goat where you'll have a news report go, well, people started shouting the B word. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. So you're a news reporter and you're telling me she walked out on stage and people started going, B word, B word, B word. Oh, no, that's not what they did. Well, you're a reporter. Why do you get to tell me what's too sensitive for my ears? You see all these videos on you. Oh, graphic warning. And then the video's like, I'm just holding out for the graphic. I got popcorn. I got a 2-liter of Diet Coke, right? A graphic warning. Where's the graphic warning, right? Where's the graphic? But now, right, it's gotten to the point where B word, C word, D word, R word, N word, which is why I invite people all the time. I'm Irish. Call me a Mick. Well, I have a hair lip. Please call me a hair lip. I wish there were a whole list of other words that are on the do not ever, ever say list so I could tell people, please call 833-462-3968 and just insult me because your words are never going to perforate
That's it.
my sense of self.
Exactly.
What's happened to us?
We've become a society of children thinking that we are all supposed to win, that no one comes in last, that there is no such thing as trying to succeed and doing what you can do. We are not all the same, and I think part of this linear education and this analytical education that we put our kids through weed out a lot of the artistic and the right-brained thinking that we have, the creativeness in us. And so we keep going down this path that a select group of people can actually pass exams, and our education is based on simply trying to pass a test. We're not learning anything anymore.
As Rita says, don't forget safety rooms, right? And I think every time I think of safety rooms or safety zones or padded rooms or rodeo clowns or any of the things that we're supposed to have to keep us from being, attacked by the outside. But then what happens is, right, you grow up having never been attacked. So the first time, maybe, right? Everyone needs a trophy for T-ball. Maybe the first time you're attacked, you take it to heart. But I just don't understand. And you see, and here's what I think, and the reason that we started All Natural Being all those episodes ago, now almost 280 episodes ago, was that who stands When we say go be you, the real you, the all-natural being, you're wild at the core, do you really believe that you're wild at a core is offended by the drool of another? Your ego may be offended. All those things that are inauthentic might be offended. But is it really your position? Oh, I saw something today. Oh, I was mortified. Do you know what the word mortified? Do you know when you say you're mortified, right? Since you're such a fan of the thesaurus, do you know what the word mortified means? How can you be mortified by the words of another person? So for me, I like the idea of standing up for the real, the all-natural being, for the real you. And hopefully letting people say what they want, letting, when people go, please, you're welcome to text me any insult that you can think of. Because as we talked about today at lunch, I really couldn't care less about your opinion of me.
Well, exactly. And we are, like you said, so thin-skinned now, thick-headed, thin-skinned. It's a lousy combination.
Boy, isn't it?
And then throw on top of that the lack of responsibility. We have a society that is in free fall, absolutely in free fall, and the problem is nobody realizes they're in free fall, and they won't realize it until they hit the ground or get relatively close, and then the fear will set in and say, "Wow, how did I get in this position? How did I lose so much control?" And it all comes back to everything that we've been taught, all of the things that we've had to learn and go through, that we've given up control, simply gave it all away. I'm not going to get into any of the politics on it, but we are constantly giving up everything that we have, every right that we have.
And Henry, over in the thread, Dallas says every kid is just a number based on test scores. We've forgotten what community is. John says, it's beyond not learning. We're learning how to be robotic and follow orders.
That's right.
And that's a very good point.
Very good.
Donald says, I'd rather be offended and hear what people say. Honest to goodness, we're just not talking about this, Donald. Henry and I were just talking about this at lunch. Donald says, I'd rather be offended and hear what people say and think than have it hidden in the dark recesses of someone's mind.
Right.
It should be free to speak, but be responsible for the content. We just talked about that, Donald. And what I would say to you is that I would so much rather someone come up to me and go, Brian, you know what? You're a jackass.
That's right.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. I'd rather have someone tell me the truth. And we talked about, Donald, we were saying someone at least square their shoulders and tell you what they think up front. Then, oh, man, you're just the greatest. And then they're busy sticking a knife in your back, right? Exactly. And I told you of Dr. Kell, my friend, that says, she saw a T-shirt the other day that said, "Fun fact, I just don't care." Right?
Good.
So you get to the point where you go, if we were to wake up and go, no matter what is said about me negatively, no matter what is said negatively about my dreams, no matter what is said negatively about putting my heart's highest priority top of my list, if you'd go chirp, 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 it's like the tree frogs in Ecuador. Who cares? Who cares?
Exactly. And we really do have to learn this and bring back sensibility into everything that we are attempting to try to understand. Because to me, there really is no really ever understand. In fact, I usually people will ask, so how do you understand this? And how do you? I don't want to understand it. If I understand it, I'll be part of it. So I don't even want to understand this stuff. To me, it's just learn that we can change it. We can change everything that's going on out there, and it starts with changing us.
Edward, thank you, Edward, very much. He has a good point. And he says, we're talking about this, but, Bri, you rail against people that are saying, oh, you can't use the A word, the B word, the C word. And he says, but at the same time, you guys keep saying N word because as intelligent guys, you have decided that there's a better way of saying what you want to say. And I think it's never our goal to inflame other people. But, yeah, we're guilty of the same thing when we say, oh, we won't say this word or that word. Outside of that mea culpa, right? Outside of that, Edward, I would hope that one day people will go, I don't care what words he used. I don't care what words they say. If being called a mick, if being called a hairlip, if being called Donald, help me here. What was it? We're from West Virginia, so one leg's longer than the other because we've been busy running around on the sides of mountains forever. I think that's it. Donald, wasn't it? One leg, which was odd because years later I would actually need a lift because my left leg is an inch shorter than my right. So that no doubt comes from living in West Virginia. But Edward Murphy raises a valid point. Are there better ways of saying what it is we want to say? I would say so, but I would also say that when it comes down to the watering down of human wherewithal, we'll look back at a day like this and go, we're responsible for the downfall of human brains because of it. What do you say?
No, again, yes. The whole premise that words, one, offend people, and second, having to use words to describe our differences, which is really all this is.
Mm-hmm.
Someone being Irish or someone being Italian or someone being white or somebody being black. These are words that identify our differences. So what if we just stop seeing it and just refer to each other as brother and sister? I mean, it's the craziness of this world that one, we have to segregate ourselves so much down to every possible nuance, and we can't even talk to each other. We can't even talk to our neighbors because we're afraid of offending, or we're not. Like you said, the patrol will come out and get us for,
Well, I think that's the point that Edward's trying to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is we can say, oh, well, it's this or it's that, but, we choose to fall into the same trap. I'm not a television reporter, right? Used to be, right? And I can remember getting in trouble because people would say, oh, you culturally appropriated this or you culturally appropriated that. And that was always insane to me. But Edward's got a really great point. And so I had to start thinking as I was listening to you talk, what is it? But Edward says, but still, you guys are still doing it. And I think, well, you got family, you got friends. There's, the amount of attack that one would bring down on themselves for saying any of these different words, then a part of you has to go, if it were just me as an individual, if all I had to worry about is what I felt, but then if you look at your family, you look at your friends, you look at your close-in circle, the amount that you bring down upon them. But that's why I'm not a television reporter.
There you go.
Know what I mean? That's why I'm not having to do it. So, Edward, thank you for I guess you could call Edward's question like an integrity check, right? Because here I am saying, well, we shouldn't be tolerating people going A word, B word, C word, D word, and any of the words.
Right.
Yet, it's how we're going to get through the show, right? We're going to do the same thing. And I guess, Edward, what I would hope is that one day people would realize that human beings are so much more than the words we use to address them. And that if you can really, I can't tell you how much I enjoy it when someone says, oh, you're just a Mick. Thank you. Right? Thank you. And I go, oh, well, Brian, you can't have people saying that thing about you. Yes, I can. Sure, go ahead. Call me anything you want. Or the people running around, making fun of having a hair lip or a cleft palate. Or I have to tell you, not too many people come up and make fun of brain tumors. Hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? Right? But I have more scars on my face now. Like we talked about earlier, I can go this Halloween as Frankenstein. I got a couple bolts in my neck. I got more scars than that boy. So I guess what I would say is thank you again to Edward for keeping us honest. Dana is here as well. Dana, thank you very much for joining us. Edward, thank you so much. I appreciate it, brother. But you're absolutely right to go look. You are doing the very thing you rail against. And you know what, Edward? I hope one day in the very near future you call back or you're into the show and I go, all right, I'm done. Every word on the can't say list from A to Z. You're a zebra. Whatever it's going to be, well, I'm going to use, right? I hope, Edward, one day, instant message me with your number, and I'll text you the day that's going to be, because I hope one day that someone will go, you know what? Human beings are so much more than that. For God's sakes, stand up for who you truly are. Dana, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on All Natural Being. Let me see. Ijerba, she says, if we could learn to be heartier, stronger within, then what others say would only reveal their, boy, isn't that the truth? Only their true character.
Absolutely right.
Right?
Absolutely right. Yes. Yes.
Because then if someone says something about you and you construe it as something that's bad, then the truth, I hate to sound this cliche, but the truth hurts.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a jackass and they say you are, what does it matter?
Doesn't.
Like when Matt said, oh, well, Dennis Rodman is only 5'8", right? Is Dennis going to get mad because he's like 7 whatever, 6 whatever? No, because you look at it and you go, yeah, he's clearly, I'm not 5 something. But you're going to be offended because someone said you were short? No, but it's the same thing with any of these different labels that are used. If you don't buy into the meaning of that label, if you don't buy in, if I don't buy into being a Mick with everything that's supposed to entail, Mick away. Call me every Irish slang, every derogatory Irish name in the book you can think of.
Yeah,
Henry.
but can you hopefully you can also understand the reason why all of this has occurred. I mean,
no, but I would love to. No, let me say this to you.
Sure.
I don't understand it at all.
Okay.
That people are so thin-skinned.
Yeah.
Right? I don't understand it. But I'm all ears. I know that's hard for you to believe, but I'm all ears. Why is it? You tell me. How is it that we've become so thin-skinned that sticks and stones may break my bones? Oh, hold the press. Now, sticks and stones and words may break my bones. Right? Names are now on the list that'll hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen?
And I don't have an answer for that because I really don't know when it happened. I've just watched it progress over the years. Like you said, I mean, my mom was Japanese, and I was always referred to as a Jap, and which was interesting because it was an Italian neighborhood, and I thought they fought on the same side during World War II, but I could be mistaken. And so I fought a lot because of that. So I don't know where it changed. I really don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense at all. It really doesn't to me. And I really have gone back and I have read and I've researched, and I can't pinpoint a time, any specific time, where this has occurred. It just did, and it just doesn't. Sure. I mean, it's like giving kids timeouts.
Sure.
Sorry.
Right.
I mean, my timeout was I couldn't sit down for a couple of days.
Yours and mine both, brother. Yeah. Let me say hello to Patricia Costello. Patricia, it is so nice. Thank you for joining us here on All Natural Being. I have to tell you, and I don't think she's right. I don't think she's going to think that I'm saying anything. But, you hear this bantered around about snowflakes. And one of the things I love about Patricia, I go, yeah, people are welcome to call her a snowflake, but I've never seen a snowflake go into full-on avalanche like Patricia Costello. That's what I love about her. She's like, oh, people call her snowflake, and I go, all right, right? I'm just backing away. I'm going, I call Patricia a lot of stuff. Good luck with that snowflake. So, Patricia, thank you for joining us. Dallas says, mine too. Dallas, thank you very much. Marcellus is with us. Marcellus, hello to you as well. Thank you for joining us. Individuality has been lost, Dallas says. Henry, I think you would agree. Individuality has been lost.
Oh, absolutely has. I think the fact that we have been separated as much as we have and broken down almost to the individual, our species is a very social species. We really do feel more comfortable with surrounded by people. You can tell by how important friends are, being friends, and how insulting it is being defriended on Facebook. So we are extremely social as species, yet we are doing everything we can to individualize us. Almost every individual has its own little compartment, and you don't cross the barriers. You just don't seem to come out of that compartment, and it's so sad to see this occur.
I would agree. Let me say hello real quick. Larry Fleming says hello from Florida to everyone. Chief, thank you so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being. Wow, we've been going on an hour, Henry, and I promised I wouldn't hold you more than the hour. So let's do this. How will people be able to follow you? I know this is the last night that you'll be, at least for a little while, the last night that you'll be here in the studio with us. How is it that people will be able to follow what you're up to? Tell us. I know there's a SoundCloud, but they can get to that through your webpage, right?
The webpage, yeah. Was it the 3Ws.henrygnoel.com.
henrygnoel.com.
And everything that I'm going to continue to update and change. And you'll see some of the stuff that I've got up there now, I will be pulling down, changing it again, because it is a very fluid, living document. Sure. These things change constantly because I'm learning this right along with everybody else. And so we'll keep it updated that way, and I'll be calling in routinely as during these travels. I don't want to let Brian off the hook that easy. We'll test his shunt pressure and see how well he does.
Right. Yeah, I love that. You know what I mean? Oh, well, we're going to go ahead and see just how much his shunt can handle. And again, so please, you're welcome to call me. Make fun of the shunt. Make fun of the brain tumor. Make fun of the mick, the hair lip, whatever you want. I really. And also, do you want to, just in case your brother's still listening, you want to give him a quick shout out and thank him again for coming and hanging with us this weekend as well?
Yeah, this is really good. I just love my brother. He's such a good guy. And it's a lot of fun to have him, and he's brilliant when it comes to computers, comes to programming, writing code, doing the things that need to be done behind the scenes. And I know I've called him at the last minute for having things done.
Sure.
And he's just spot on every time and quick. He is remarkable. I'm hoping at some point in time he'll get brave enough and post something. And if anybody ever has any computer needs at all, boy, just contact him. He's remarkable.
He is something. And we're going to have an announcement here before too long about something that Wayne is helping the show with as well. And so he's just in dealing with him for a little bit. And I'm like, what'd you do? Well, I had an hour, so I went ahead and whipped up. Yeah. It's like a celebrity chef going, well, I had 15 minutes, so I whipped up the wedding cake. Just in that little bit of time, you did all this. Yeah. Right. Yeah, sure, whatever. Right, it's a piece of cake, Brian. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much for joining us. Don't forget, you can also still text us, 833-462-3968. I also want to thank Henry for being with me here this week. And Rita has also been his trusted sidekick throughout the adventure. Thank you so very much for being here in the studio. I super appreciate it. And for you all, thank you again for making us the #1 rated show here on IPMNation.com. We'll go ahead and get out of here. We will. Today's only like Monday, Tuesday?
Monday.
Is it Monday?
Yep.
Oh, it's only Monday. Good golly. All right, we'll be back tomorrow night. Oh, well, because we started Sunday. That's why it is, right? Shunt. Mm-hmm. Right? Amnesia, right? So I'm welcome to forget from time to time. We started Sunday nights because our new format is Sunday through Thursday.
Correct.
So, but tonight's only Monday night, so we'll see you back here tomorrow, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. on All Natural Being. I cannot thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And thank you to Edward for just saying, hey, you know what? A little bit of a red flag here. Edward, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. And for everyone that joined us this evening at IPM Nation here on Mortal Up Radio, thank you so very much. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We will see you tomorrow evening.
Thanks, everybody.
IPMNation.com.